Hi, guys. And yeah, it's for guys. And I'm one of you. No, nothing to do with sex, nothing to do whether or not you're a guy or a girl. We're guys. Nobody has to ask us which bathroom to use. We're guys. But I'm not like you. Because a lot of you out there have problems with relationships and just being a guy. Now, let me explain why. Because this is the reason why that you as a guy are the way you are. All right, let's start out with you were born that way. That's a good thing. You could have been born an alien, I suppose, but you were born as a boy, and you weren't found under a rock. So hey, we've already crossed the border. That's good. Now the problem starts when you go to school and when you're home with your family. When you're home with your family, you probably watch some things and you don't remember them, just like this videos are all about. I couldn't remember a lot of things before I went to school, and they shaped your life. And it wasn't a good thing. Remember, you got this negative over here and you got this positive over here, and that's where your negative started to kind of grow. Well, you couldn't have spotted that, but I'm going to tell you, and it's up to you after this video or after you watch, to make some changes for yourself, because now you know you're not to blame. Here's the first thing. You went to school. You remember that locker room, that locker room as you grew up? And you got, well, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, and you realized there was another type of human being on earth called the female, and they look different. And for some reason, the media and the newspapers and the pictures and the books had already kind of prepared you that this was a creature that was going to be important in your life. Now, here's where the problem starts. When you're in that locker room, at no point did you act like anything but a macho idiot? And you weren't a macho idiot, because that's how we grew up. And as we got older and older in that locker room, now you went on dates and you had a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Now, I didn't say it was an English language class. So, see, that boyfriend-girlfriend thing got me for a second there. But I told you about my head. Be prepared. All right. So what I'm trying to say is you acted like a guy. At no point did you ever say, I'm with this girl. I treat her really nice. I open doors for her. I hold her hand. I listen to what she has to say. I'm there for her, if she needs somebody to talk to. And when we have anything to do with each other, it's, intimately, you didn't say, and I just made perfectly sure that she was happy. When she left me, she was happy. She would go home now and she would say, oh my God, I've got a wonderful guy. You didn't say any of that, you big liar. What you said was, I nailed her. Yeah, I got her. Oh man, yeah, wow, that's another one on my list. It was good, yeah. You were probably 2.5 minutes, but the bottom line is you weren't good. But it didn't stop. And you continued on and on and on, caring about only you. Because guys at that age don't care about anybody but themselves. And then you became a jock. Oh, my God. Now you've got a double whammy on you, because not only are you a jock, and you're supposed to be a role model, but you have no clue how to be a role model. So the reality was you're half bully and half jock. And the answer was that now you had to be macho. All the time, macho, macho, macho. You ever look up the term macho and what it actually means? It didn't mean you had to be the biggest jackass in school or in college. It didn't mean that, you know, that you were all it and everybody else that was of the male sequence just like you of the DNA, literally, they weren't as good as you. And I didn't mean any of that, okay? You watch too much TV, guys. You watch too many movies. Now, I want to tell you something, a big secret. I studied this, and I want to tell you something straight up front. Listen well. Every macho guy, and I have met some movie stars that ever portrayed being macho on screen, is the one behind the scenes that talks personally about how much he loves his woman and how well he tries to treat her by opening the door, pulling out the chair in the restaurant, always making sure she's happy. He's not the macho guy that, you know, does the, hey, bitch, come here, get me a beer. No, they don't act like that in real life. You're putting on a persona of something that's not real. And what does it cost you? Well, it's cost you relationships, one after the other, hasn't it? Or it's cost you a marriage, whereas you don't understand why she's not loving and caring and shows you every day how important you are to her. Change. Because you're living a lie. It's not about only you. Yeah, I said I was a male like you, but I said I wasn't like you because I love opening doors. There's no meaner person than me. The first thing I would do in a fight is bite the person in the throat, rip off their ear, punch them in the eyes with my fingers. Groin shots. Whoa! Which very soon now I'm going to do a video for women's self-defense. There are 144 places on a male's body or a female's body. All you have to do is touch them, and they're in instant pain. That doesn't matter. No one ever should hit a woman for any reason. It's stupid. It doesn't make you macho. And first and foremost, it makes you weak. Weak. Most men who are men think that's disgusting. So grow up. You want a great relationship. You want to be successful in life. There's no successful person that beat on women. They were not successful. They thought they were. But there's always somebody bigger who was better. Number two, I love sitting across from somebody and listening to what they have to say. That's one of the greatest things in the world you can do is listen to the person you love. And I'm going to get a little bit straight in. I'm going to jump right in here. Never have I had any woman that I've ever been with that wasn't totally happy in the bedroom. Do you know why? Because I went out of my way and I said to myself, this isn't about me, this is about her. Let's spend all this time making her happy. And then when it's your time, she'll be there to make you happy. But you are not all macho God. And that's what they taught you in the locker room. And it didn't go away. All right. I had to get that off my system. It's not that you're not a strong guy. It's not that, you lift weights. I'm macho. I'm the man. Well, you are the man. And that's great. I'm proud of you. But look, The greatest men in the world have a feminine side. Don't start that. I told you. Philosophy. From the best. I learned from the best. The people you watch on TV. Pay to see in a movie. Feminine side. The one who can get down on their knees and talk to a child. The one that opens the door. The one that lets the woman go first. The woman who listens. Well, that wasn't right. Missed that one. The guy who listens. You know, but women do listen too. And most importantly, the one who buys flowers, remembers holidays, remembers special events, and always goes out of their way for Christmas, birthdays, and never, ever forgets their anniversary. That's the feminine side. See, I didn't ask you to go to the woman's restroom. I just asked you to kind of dump that macho manly bullshit for 2 minutes and listen about being there for somebody else. I know it's a new thing. I know it's hard. I know it's going to hurt. But the reality of it is you're going to be a greater man for that. Memory. I was about 11 years old, and my grandpa decided, and my grandmother decided that because it was a place up the road, it was a campground, it closed, and we used to go there all the time. I mean, it had this little tiny pond. I mean, this pond, it only had about this much water in it, and you could walk across it in a second and a half. But it was great. We used to go up there and sit in the water as children. I mean, hey, like a big pool, you know, like one of them plastic things on the lawn. It closed. So my grandmother, because she was a very wise business person, decides she's going to build a campground on all that land that we had so that people would have a campground to go to. And they're going to have a big pond, one that they can fish in and swim in and everything. So, hey, first thing, we built all of the fire pits in the woods, and we cut all the sites down and made everything so people could go in there to tent. There wasn't any campers back then, so they could all go tent. And then we decided to build this pond. And my grandma bought a bulldozer. And my grandpa was going to run it. And the kids were going to be there to help. And we were, day after day after day after day. And it got into working in the mud, and the water started. He hit a line of water that was what we needed for the pond, and it started to come up. So he was having more and more trouble with the track coming off the dozer. So he taught us. He said, just put this big rock under the back of the dozer's track, and I'll back up on it, and then you can just kick the track back up on the sprockets in the dozer, and it'll be back on, and I'll drive off it, and you can move the rock. Well, he calls, and we're sitting over there probably picking worms or something because we want to go fishing. And he says, I need to get the track back on. So yeah. So you go get the big rock, and we put it under the back of the dozer. And for some reason this time, he doesn't wait for me, I was the older, to get a hell out of the way. So he just backs the dozer up, and I look down after I felt this excruciating pain, probably one of the first start of my life of many, many excruciating pains. The dozer's track is on my hand. It's right between the track and the rock. And of course I can't pull it out. So I'm trying to get my voice to go, and my little brother runs up and says, you're on his head. And my grandfather pulls the dozer forward, and he jumps down, and he comes over, and of course there's blood all over the rock. And he says, let me see your hand. And I pick it up, and it's flat. The finger's just flat. See all the scars? So he takes his shirt and wraps up my hand, and he runs me down to the house, and my mom said, what'd you do? And he says, I hurt his finger. And she, of course, She pulls the shirt away, and she looks and she passes out. Boink! So my gramp says, get in the truck. So down the road we go. You go over to the hospital emergency room. They take one look and they say, we got to sew that up. Oh, that's one of the first of many times they've had to sew me up. So they sewed it all up. And then they put some stuff over it and they wrapped it all up. And that's how I was to go to school. Another injury. So I got pretty good at these injuries after a while. Falling out of the hayloft and things that, you know, you're not supposed to have to do. So anyway, I'm telling you, dudes, I kept going. I didn't like it. But what do you think we did the very next day? We were back building the pond. And I'm just bandaged, and Mom says, don't get your bandage all mud. And, of course, it's all soaked with black mud because we're still putting the rock under the track and kicking it on. Only this time, Grandpa says, tell me when you're clear. Great-grandfather. I did have a great-grandfather, but, you know, you shouldn't run a dozer around little kids. And we were probably, I can't say I was more than 12. So, anyway, there it is. That was another memory. Oh, it's kind of funny to remember that one. But anyway, I lived. I better. It's the one I used for playing guitar. So, cool. All right, people. I hope you had a great time. I did. Look, subscribe. Please. I love you. Hit the bell. Write the comment. See ya.